Good morning, welcome to my home. If you're new here, my name is Karen. Here I am with my wet head first thing in the morning, and I am getting the laundry started. I didn't do any laundry over the weekend, so I do have one load to fold. As you might know, if you've been around, I tried to do, I'm changing from doing like setup over the weekend mentality, setting up for the week, to doing a setup on Friday so that I don't have to do a lot of work over the weekend. And so now it's Monday, and what I want to do is clean up any messes left over from the weekend. Oh man, my lens cleaner spilled, leaked out because it got knocked over. Oh, and I got marigold seeds that leaked out, because why do I have marigold seeds on my dryer? I don't know. So what I really want to do is head right out and water my garden, because it's falling over. We're having a dry week, so I need to make sure I'm watering. And in another video, you're going to see some of those plants I'm going to feed to the deer. They've given me all they're going to give me, basically. So I want to clean off the deck. This is just, I got to put this in a Gladlock bag. Okay. I was getting this started, and I'm going to head outside and water my plants. And then I can kind of get going doing a room by room reset of the house. Well, not really room by room. I definitely want to get in that refrigerator, because we went to farmer's market on Saturday and got some great veggies, so I want to make sure they're taken care of properly. I had a gorgeous salad yesterday. We also went to a blueberry festival over the weekend, and the funny thing was, I didn't see one blueberry. I think maybe it was on a farm, so probably you could pick blueberries. Maybe that's why it was called a blueberry festival. But it was basically crafters and vendors, artisans, very high quality, reasonably priced for what they were doing. This knockout rosebush makes my day every time I come out with it. You might know it was like at Lowe's, half dead, and I brought it home. You just trim off the dead stuff, and look at that thing. I'm a little concerned that it's going to be too big to be in this spot, but hopefully it'll work out. And I'm going to go in actually and get my scissors, because I never did trim that back. See, this is what happened. I come out here to water, and I immediately get distracted. I wanted to do this afternoon. Our high is 75 degrees. It's going to be the most gorgeous day ever. I haven't even put on makeup yet, which, not that I have to put on makeup, it is an at-home day, but I immediately get distracted. Also, I read to trim back roses after the first frost, but would you trim these long pieces, or would you just let them go? Let me know what you would do with your roses. So this guy, not as prolific. Oh, there's one other thing I got to pull out while I'm here. Let me show you. Rachel has a plant identification, and I asked her to identify this plant for me because it looked like something that would bear berries, and it is true. In fact, you can see them here, but it is a nightshade. So this isn't the worst kind of nightshade. That's the most poisonous, but it is still a nightshade, so I'm going to pull that out now while I'm thinking of it, but I'm going to go in and get myself some plastic gloves first. Also, if you have trouble with wasps and hornets, I recommend it comes out so easy. All right, I recommend getting hyssop. They're gone now, but I was pulling that plant out, and there were like 3 wasps on this, and they're so busy. Oh, there's one back here. Oh yeah, there they are. They're so busy on the hyssop, they don't bother me at all. I love it. It just like gave them something to do. I just remembered I got to drag that out to the road too, because that tarp was supposed to go to the dump. I'm going to cut this back, and then I promise I will do what I came out here to do, which is water. Because even though the dew is on the ground, it doesn't feel like anything needs to be watered. I'm sure it does. Also,
My yard needs to be mowed so bad. But when I try to use a lawnmower, the vibrating of the lawnmower makes my hands itch really bad. Does anyone else have that problem? And I would so love to be the one to mow. I might try again. But also, my husband always has kind of a little bit of a rough time getting it initially started. It doesn't start easily. So I would need him home, and he goes into the office on Mondays. He has to go in once a week. So he has his Bible study on Mondays. Mine is this Wednesday. And so it makes sense for him because he works in the same town where he meets with his Bible study partner. So that makes sense. He's actually preaching at our church this Sunday. So ooh, a furry caterpillar. No, buddy, you can't live here. So I don't want you making a nest. Or a web. Of those. Anyways, if you're interested, I can, after he preaches, post a link to the sermon if you're interested to hear it. He's preaching at our home church. It's been a hot minute since he's preached a sermon. A lot of this is very woody, and I don't know if that's normal. This is creme brulee potentilla, or potentilla in Spanish. Alright, that looks good. So while I'm here, I'm also gonna deadhead this. I think what I've learned this year about gardening is not to be so shy about pruning. Although I do try to look up when to prune, because I know that's important. For example, I was all ready to prune my rhododendron, and this is not the right time. So I'm not doing it. Should have done it in the spring after the blooming season, and I missed it. So I'm going to wait, but it did say 3 inches of mulch for the winter. I don't need to cover it, which I tried to do last year and drove me nuts because the covering was so darn ugly. So I'm glad I don't have to cover it. I hope this isn't getting attacked by bugs. So what I'm going to do is start gathering pine needles when I rake. Oh, this is already ripped. I don't know what to do with this thing. And putting it under there so that it will be all ready. And I see, whenever I get a bloom, it just like they flop over. So I don't really understand that. You need to act like him. I'm wearing my sundress today because it reminds me to go slow. You know, it's just there's something mentally for me about wearing a dress. It is really hard to do some types of work with a dress on. Also, my husband got the tire that was under here, so it's out for the guy that comes and takes our trash. One of the decisions that we made in our town, you bring your own trash to the dump. There's no trash pickup. So one of the things we decided to do to take that off my husband's plate is to hire someone to come and take our trash. I'm trying really hard to stay focused. I see so many things I want to do right now in the weeding direction, getting bigger rocks for my little design here. But it doesn't need to happen today, right? It goes on my it doesn't need to happen today list. Maybe it will happen later today. But what does need to happen today is I need to get into my refrigerator and I need to make sure the things that we purchased at farmers market are properly stored so that it doesn't rot. That does need to happen today. Because there's nothing worse. Well, there are worse things, but it's always a bummer
when you buy something and it goes to waste just because you didn't store it properly. So I would love to dry some herbs. I would love to weed my garden. I would love to pick this rhubarb and start making dishes for rhubarb. But first, I need to store what I already have harvested and already have purchased. I've gotten all I can out of this lettuce. It's bitter, it's bolted, it's mature so that it's bitter. I let it bolt because it was already bitter anyway, just from the heat. We had so much heat the past few weeks. So I want to just see what the flowers look like. I'm just interested. And then it's done. In fact, all of my lettuce is done. So today, later, when I come back out, I'm going to be taking those down. Also, my Roma tomato plant, I'm tired of trying to keep it from end rot. And even when I did successfully keep it from end rot, they weren't great tomatoes, whereas my cherry tomatoes are just like amazing. Someone asked why I don't use a hose to water. Wouldn't it be easier? I feel like I'm beating up my plants with a hose. And also, there's something aesthetically pleasing about using my watering pot. It's just a slow, mindful thing that just feels good, and I even love the sound of it. And when I think of slow living, it's that kind of thing. Give myself permission to use a water pot and just listen to the birds, listen to the gentle streaming of the water, and just lean into whatever task I'm doing and enjoy it. It's not, for me, it's not the woo-woo yoga. It's not necessarily, I don't have to bake bread. I'm not trying to live off the land. I'm not trying to homestead. I'm not grinding my own wheat. No, there's nothing wrong with all those things if you enjoy them. But it's being intentional in my life about what I want to be in there and editing out what I want to take out. And I'll be sharing more with you about that as I go. And I think if you're pursuing a slowed down, intentional life, it takes practice. And you're going to have failures just like anything else. It's a learned skill. So that's what I'm trying to do is I tend to run 100 miles or 0. And I'm just trying to bring it all down, be even, be calm in my heart, calm in my mind. It's something I'm really praying over. It's something I can't do without Jesus' help. It's being intentional about what is the one thing I should be doing right now. And I might have 4 great activities, 4 good things to do, but what would be the best thing in that moment, if that makes any sense to you? It's not a separation from God. It's more of a calmness, which actually invites him in, because I can be so busy. Even if he were talking to me, I wouldn't hear him. I have to shut down the noise. A lot of that has to do with anxiety and learning to bring myself down. So now I'm going to bring myself down, not worry about the things that don't have to happen today. All good things I'd like to do out here, but it doesn't have to happen today. Prioritizing what should happen today, which is preserving my produce and meat. I was so calm in that moment, I didn't even turn on my camera. So I did water the rest of the vegetables that were on top of the deck, and now I'm getting my dishwasher emptied and filled. There's only a little bit to put in there so that I can do the refrigerator, and that way if I have anything that needs to be put in the dishwasher, I have it all ready to go. So that's what I like to do whenever I go to the refrigerator and start considering cleaning things out. I'm keeping the laundry rolling because that was another thing that I had wanted to make sure I was caught up on, where I didn't do any laundry over the weekend. So I have one load to fold, one that just went into the dryer. So I'll wait for that one to come out and then I'll fold both of them at the same time. So it should work out good timing. I'm taking out the things in the refrigerator so that I can see what I have. Anything that I feel like needs to either be put in a Gladlock bag or in a produce keeper, I'm taking out and putting on the island, as well as I'll be taking out any meat that I need to package up and put in the freezer. Meal planning can be a great way to save money, but I will say that just as important as meal planning is checking in the refrigerator every couple of days, seeing what needs to be used up quickly, seeing what could be put in the freezer and what could be put in something that will help it to last longer. I also find that this simple exercise just is a good way for me to be reminded what I have. Sometimes we might buy something, especially when we go to farmers market, that's not on an immediate meal plan. And if I don't remind myself that it's there, obviously that's also why I do like little inventory lists, but I haven't done that with what we bought yet. But just going through the refrigerator is a great reminder for me. So I did find some pizza that needed to be thrown out. It was from when we had gotten some takeout, and also the lime juice was expired, so I got rid of that as well. I don't know if you can see, but over there on your right are some salad turnips, and I definitely want to get those used up, possibly today. I need to look up again and remind myself how I made them last time. And I saved the meat for last so that I wasn't using raw meat and then dealing with produce. I'm just getting the chicken breasts wrapped up and I'll get them in a Gladlock bag. I love doing this so much, just putting each individual piece of meat by itself, wrapped in saran wrap, put in a Gladlock bag, and then each night I can take out whatever I need, and I waste a lot less meat this way. I love getting it all packaged up, put in the freezer, and then I'm learning to make smaller portions and not to have so much for leftovers just because there's not people around to eat it. It's just a big change when your nest starts to get emptier. I'm gonna get this laundry folded, and then my reset in my mind is completed. Is my whole house clean? No. But the purpose of my reset, I wanted my plants watered because I want to make sure I'm not killing my plants or especially my vegetable plants. I wanted to make sure I took care of any food that was purchased over the weekend from my grocery order that I placed Friday, as well as we went to farmer's market on Saturday morning. And then I wanted to make sure that my laundry was caught up. My daughter Rachel cleaned my kitchen last night. What a huge help. That's why I was emptying the dishwasher instead of having to do a big fill. So that was a huge, huge blessing. And you know, okay, back up, Karen. So I want to get this folded, and then everything else is it doesn't have to happen today. It's on that list. So it's not that I can't do any of it, but the pressure's off, right? And so next, after this, I'm going to spend some hobby time. I want to make sure I'm practicing what I preach because I equally have a hard time taking breaks. I always have a running list. I mean, I walk outside and all I can see is projects I need to do. And then I come in and it's the same thing. I got the best comment I get so many amazing comments. But this one, I really felt like I needed to share it with you from Jeanette, okay? Because I resonated with it so much. And this is so much what I'm trying to lead by example and to show you, because we could literally work our lives away and turn around and go, and it's not even about, you know, when we were younger, it was like, oh, leave the sweeping, play with the kids. Well, that still felt like something we were doing, you know, that it was for us because we love our kids and want to spend time, but it felt very unselfish. And it's very hard to spend time doing hobbies and things you enjoy in a day because there's this go, 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 go feeling. And as women, especially, we're always doing something for someone else. And it's very hard for us to do something just for ourselves. So this is what she writes. I want to tell you how you have influenced me since you started your basement. I was really, really hardworking. Listening to my body was not an option. Does anybody remember my knee collapsing on me? It was the same thing. I worked until I was done. Perfect. Slowly, I have changed. Now I listen to my body first. What can I get done? Okay. I work for a while, rest and work some more, or quit. And I do things I love every day now. Woo! That is a victory. Before, I thought it wasn't necessary to do my hobbies. I could do them when my to-do list was done. I never met anyone actually that completed all of it, and so I never did. My life is so much better now. I am happier and have more energy because she's filling her cup, right? And best of all, I'm a good role model for my daughter, and that is important too. So thank you for influencing us. And thank you, Jeanette, for influencing me because I really wanted to get more than one video filmed today. Not that I still can't. So I was tempted to do this and then get right started. But because you're reminding me of what I'm reminding you, I am going to paint some pine cones because I was looking at Pinterest over the weekend and I found a Halloween fall. I shouldn't even call it Halloween. I should call it fall. I'm going to show you the picture I saw. It'll be my inspiration picture, but it's painting each pine cone like a piece of candy corn, right? Don't you just think, I mean, even if you hate candy corn, because there's either people that love it or hate it. And I don't love it, but at the same time, because it's so sugary, I can really go through the candy corn. But anyway, I digress. It's painting the pine cones to look like candy corn and using that as a wreath. And one of I love the wreath I made, but I do notice like from the end of the driveway, it doesn't really show because the colors, they're prettier close up than they are far away. But I think the orange and the white and the yellow will show more from, say, the road. And I'll like that. It'll have a nice pop. So I was going to do white flowers that you cut. These you won't cut because you want the pine cone shape because I have the long skinny ones because that does look like the candy corn. So I don't even have to cut the pine cones. So that will be kind of a quicker wreath to put together. I'm very excited about it. And I felt so inspired with rock art and glass art, and oh, so many crafts inspired me at the craft fair. And for years, since, oh my goodness, I used to quilt, and when I had my first child, I was getting together with two girlfriends, and we were quilting once a week. So our husbands would take care of the kids, and we would quilt. But as I've added more children, I have stopped doing all those things. And I think it's almost like the adrenaline of having young children in the home didn't leave me. So I still had the go, 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 go mentality. And then I can remember posting cleaning videos, and I would be so exhausted, but feeling like my videos weren't enough cleaning to call a cleaning video. It was just me trying to be what I want. I mean, kind of a fantasy self for sure, but also just trying to live up to a standard that I saw online. I prayed a long time that God would give me a job that I could help others, but be helping my family by making some money where I knew working outside the home wasn't going to work as a homeschool mom. And I feel like God did provide this for me, but I definitely fell into a trap. Even though I knew what I really wanted was to help those who were burnt out or had chronic illness and couldn't keep up with the standard they might have seen online. I mean, who doesn't love seeing those cleaning videos where they're using the steamer and they're cleaning things that we never thought to clean, and it looks like go, 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 or they might stay up. I remember watching one YouTuber, and she just energy, and I think it's great. She has younger children. They do go to school, but she would start cleaning after they went to bed. And oh my goodness, the stuff she would get done and putting furniture together. And, so I could easily, that's great for her. It's not who I am, which is fine and great for me. But can't you just easily get caught up in that? And I was with my videos. I was just exhausting myself, blew out my knee, come on. Craziness. So reading comments like that just make my day, make my heart happy. So as I read my slow living book, and I honestly want to call it gentle living and not so much slow living, but as I just think about it through the day, but either way, the first step really is deciding what is a non-negotiable in your life. Like, what are your values? What this person was saying was, think about, how do you want to be described at your own funeral, which is a little bit morbid, but do you want to be described as someone who works from sunup to sundown? Or will it be more, she's loving, she's patient, she's giving? How do you want to be described? What really is your fantasy self? Is it really that your house is shiny and clean all of the time? What kind of example do you want to give your children? Do you really want them working from sunup to sundown? Or do you want them to do things they love? Do you want them to include the things that they're passionate about? Or do you want them to just work, so that the people around them think they're so amazing at keeping their house and doing all of the things? It's really about the person who you deep down want to be. What do you admire? Who are some of the people you admire, and what is it about them you admire? So I encourage you, as I'm going to do, is to start thinking about that, because that's going to lead to the priorities and how you spend your time. And if you're a person of prayer, I'm a person of prayer. I believe in God, and Jesus is my Savior. If you're that person, and I know not all of you are, and that's fine. I'm not pointing anything out, other than if you are a person of prayer, it should be something you're praying about. You know, what does God want for your life? What does He want your life to look at? And what areas is He leading you? I mean, the Bible does say, make it your ambition to live a quiet life. As far as it depends on you, live at peace with anyone. Live a quiet life, work with your hands. So, you know, are you maybe even setting up a standard that you think is from God, but it really isn't? It's really what's in your head. The critiquing yourself and criticizing yourself, is that from the God of grace and love, or is that something that is ingrained in you? So I just kind of leave you with that challenge. All right, the laundry got folded while we chatted. I'm going to go get out my pine cone stuff. My office is a mess. Just going to tell you, I probably won't show it necessarily in this video. It's on my it doesn't have to happen today list, so it will happen eventually, maybe not today. The priority here is to take a break and spend some time filling my cup, doing what I love, and being creative. This time when I do the painting, now these are all the ones I had prepared. They're clean and baked. And no, you don't have to clean yours first. It's something I chose to do because I was thinking about selling pine cones, and it's what they do to prepare them for sale. I'm not going to sell pine cones because it was way more work to clean them, because I can see there's still dirt in here. I would need like a brush, get in there with a fine brush. It's more work than I want to do. I've got to stop looking at every single thing I ever do as a potential business. All right, so yellow is at the bottom, so it'll be like a third yellow, a third orange, and a third white. Hers are super even as to how many rows of the pine cone she did with the yellow, but my pine cones aren't all the same size. So that's just something I'm going to have to get over, because mine's not going to be as even as hers. But it's for me. Like I said, it's not for sale. It's just for me. So as long as I'm happy with it, that's what counts. And I like to use the brushes with the flat top because it helps me to kind of get in to like crevices and such. All right, I'm going to put something on and just quietly paint. Oh, and remember, as always, God loves you, I love you too, and I can't wait to see you next time, because we're going to keep working on this together. Slow, gentle living. We're still productive, but we're listening to our bodies, and we're taking time to do things we enjoy as well, because so much of what we have on our list, it doesn't have to happen today.